Hello and welcome to
A Couple Codes.
My name is Cody.
And my name is Emily.
And we've been coding for 17 weeks straight with the Odin project. The last 2 weeks has been the holiday season, so we've gotten in a little bit of coding here and there, but we're going to give you an update on our progress so far. So Em, where are you in the curriculum?
I am 45% of the way through the JavaScript course. Where are you in the curriculum?
I am 92% of the way through the JavaScript course, so
Nice!
I'm getting close to getting done with that JavaScript course. What have you been working on, Em?
Well, I finished my weather app 2 days ago, and since then I have been working on recursive methods. What have you been up to?
So I finished the shopping cart app this week, and I've been working on that for the past 2 weeks and past 3 weeks really. But that's been most of my time for the past 2 weeks has been working on the shopping cart project. Finished that up, moved on to advanced React concepts, just getting an understanding of things that are out there beyond the core React that we've learned within the curriculum. And lastly, walk through some tutorials on how to use Firebase, which is a Google product that is a backend as a service. So instead of you setting up all the backend infrastructure, the code, the databases, you can utilize their API to send and receive data for your application. So I'll be using that within the Where's Waldo app and probably a couple other things before getting to the backend Node.js portion of the full stack JavaScript curriculum. So that's what I've been working on. Is there anything significant that you've learned over the past 2 weeks, Em?
Completing the assignments for the recursive methods lesson has been very helpful. Specifically, learning about how recursive functions actually execute. So learning about the execution context stack helped me to visualize like what tasks are actually being completed and in what order to execute the recursive function. And that helped me to really wrap my head around what was going on with recursive functions, because when they were first introduced, like I had a vague understanding of it, but once you kind of dig deeper and see how it's actually working, it just helps to connect so many things. So I found that to be pretty helpful. What's been significant that you've learned about?
So those advanced React concepts, the problems that those concepts actually solve and those APIs solve were problems that I encountered when creating the shopping cart app. So for those of you who've watched my shopping cart videos and vlogs, one of the things that I had trouble with was where do I put the state for the shopping cart, and I ended up putting it at one of the highest level components and then passing it down to subcomponents. There's something called Redux, which isn't necessarily React specific, but it can be utilized with React to manage state and to have a central location essentially to store the state and to access the state. So then you don't have to pass the state and define a new state within each component that you want to be able to access that data within. You can, I don't know exactly how it works because I haven't actually utilized it. It was just getting familiar with the concept itself, but essentially it's a state management system that provides one location for managing state. And in addition to that was things regarding properties. So there's prop types, and then the context API, which allows you to avoid having to pass down properties to multiple components or many components, and specifically not having to pass down properties to each level of a tree. So you can just have a property defined within the parent, and then that data will be directly accessible to all the child components within that component tree. So those are some interesting things that would have been helpful to have utilized within the shopping cart app, but for more advanced applications, more complex applications down the line, I think those things will be helpful. I'm definitely coming back to that material to utilize those concepts.
I always appreciate these conversations because you give me these little snippet previews of what's coming up down the line. And then usually I don't understand what you're talking about, but like by the time I get there, it's like everything kind of clicks. So it's always nice to hear more details about what you're doing.
Yeah, and hopefully these videos are doing a similar thing for our viewers as well. You know, that's kind of one of the points of doing these things, but also for us to talk about it and to learn about it as we go. Keep it conversational and
keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh. Keeping it real fresh. Have you had any big challenges this weekend?
Recursion. I'm stuck on a recursion question right now. I'm completing a code quiz.
That is not surprising. We all get stuck on recursion. At one of our videos, I'm pretty sure I talked about where I got real stuck in recursion.
Yeah.
Because I was making it too complex.
Yeah. But I'm completing a code quiz on recursion right now. I'm just stuck on one of the questions. I am pretty confident that I'll find the solution. I have found it helpful to do rubber ducking when I do get stuck, which is where you just explain what your code is doing line by line as if you were talking to a rubber duck. And sometimes you're my rubber duck. So thanks for that. What has been challenging for you this week?
Transitioning back in from the holiday season. So I think we both got one day in last week-ish for the Odin project. And
I think I got 2.
Oh. Okay. And this week, you had 3, and I had 2. Because yesterday, I reset my PC because the boot up time was getting to be like 20 minutes. So there's just, every now and then I have to do this to get rid of excess applications, because sometimes I go down rabbit holes and I download a bunch of stuff for just like interesting kind of software things. But yeah, so I had to do that yesterday, so I missed out on a whole day of coding. I still need to get Visual Studio Code back up and running and all that different kind of stuff. Windows subsystem for Linux. But yeah, I'd say getting back into the groove, getting back into the routine, but we're getting there, so.
Well, that is all that we have time for today. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along on our journey. And our question for you is, what has been most challenging for you this week? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks for tuning in to
A Couple Codes.
Hopper. Hopper.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud.